My name is Daria, and this is my final project for CSIE 63 Big Data Analytics. The project is entitled Institutional Research in Neo4j. You can find a working copy of my demo at shinyapps.io, as well as all the source code and data on GitHub. Quick introduction, my name is Daria. I'm a research analyst in the Office for Institutional Research. Institutional research is looking at understanding how colleges and universities operate from the context of admissions, financial aid, to faculty productivity and research impact. And we want to leverage this university data to aid in policy and decision making. So I was interested in seeing what the value of Neo4j was in the context of institutional research, seeing if we could use it to apply network analysis to institutional research as a whole. So the goals of this project were fourfold. One was to load the data into Neo4j. Two was to analyze that data using Cypher, R, and Neo4j. Three, collect and visualize the results, and then create an RShiny web app that showcases the interactive visualizations. And then four, deploy the app on shinyapps.io. The data that we're using comes from AMiner, the Open Collaboration Data Network, for computer science citations. So the dataset itself had about 2.4 million papers, about 4.3 million citation relationships. So compressed, this is about 137 megabytes, and uncompressed is about 257 megabytes, which is quite a bit to work with and load in memory. Our goal was to basically take our papers and break them out into this graph model where we had a separate node for papers, a separate node for authors, and a separate node for journals, and then ask really interesting questions about the relationship between the three nodes. I ran into quite a few challenges when I was working with this. Loading the data into Neo4j is definitely not an easy task. So working with our Neo4j, I found that it was definitely not scalable. Trying to load 2 million papers into the data set was not scalable. It projected taking about a year to do it within the algorithm that I had. So I then took a second attempt and used the embedded Java application. It was slightly better, but still untenable. It took me about 10 minutes to load 10,000 rows, and this projected out to about a day and a half to load the full data set. In the end, I boarded about an hour into my loading process, so I managed to get about 60,000 rows processed, which translated to about 200,000 nodes across the papers, authors, and citations. Next, I'm going to talk about what I did with the data. So once the data was in Neo4j, what I did was use R Neo4j to actually facilitate the communication between R and the Neo4j database. So I passed queries I coded in Cypher to Neo4j and got a data set back, which was stored in a data frame, and then ran some analysis around it. So using this method, I was able to ask some really interesting questions around things like, who has published the most in our data set? Who are the rising stars in our data set? Which authors have had the most which authors have been the most sociable in terms of doing things like working with other co-authors. The final product is this interactive presentation where you could do things like hover over, zoom in, zoom out, and explore the data set as a whole. And that's my final project. Thank you very much.